You're welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you doing today? Okay, a very quick one, right? This particular section, right, will be a tutorial, right, on how you can trade intraday. I mean, how you can become a professional intraday trader and how you can be successful, right, with trading the rules I've already given to you. And just like what I said, this is not an only ground, right? This is just an opportunity for you to use the rule-based system while you are trading. All right, so basically I'm going to be teaching you how you can follow market structure, you can follow institutional order flow. I believe it's just market structure anyway. Market structure, institutional order flow, and the other blocks I've taught you in line with the three rules that I have actually taught you. So let's go on to study this, and I will want you to back test this as many times as possible, and for you to also forward test it so that you can actually be confident in you um uh taking this trade. All right, let's go straight into the point. All right, just like what I've always say, right? If you really want to trade now, you have to trade in line with the market structure. So the first thing I saw, I'm going to be using the case study of Euro CHF, how I took these opportunities. As you can really see what happened, I took one was 10, one was 116, one was 22, and it's just within a space of 2 or 3 days that I actually took all these opportunities. Don't forget, this particular trade setup was shared with my special student. Right, so I shared all my signals on my setups, I shared it with them, so you just go on to trade the pairs they actually think is good in their own mind on the outside. All right, so basically what I noticed was that the 4 hour, right, just like what I said, is an intraday trade. So the 4 hour was bearish market, was creating, this is higher and higher high, is an higher low, it got broken, this became a lower low, this is a lower high, this is a lower low, this is a lower high, then this is a lower low, a lower high, a lower low. As you can see, let me just mark that this is a structure, this is a structure, this is a structure. As you can see how this structure was forming. All right, you can see how this structure is actually forming. So this is actually indicates the market structure is bearish on the 4 hour time frame, just as what you can see. So I'm actually rest assured that this particular trade is going to give me what I am looking out for. So at the same time, what I noticed, and just like what I told you, there are three rules for you to trade, and I've already written all those rules here. All right, directional bias, I've already established the fact that my market structure and institutional order flow is bearish. So I use 4 hours time frame as my institutional order flow, and I've already confirmed that it is bearish. So the next thing I'm going to do is just for me to get a good order block, and this good order block, this is the rules for me to really confirm if this is a good or is it not really good order block. So these rules I've actually taught you before, and you can go back to it in the video is going to be suggested to you, so you can study it and understand everything about how to spot a very good order blocks. And at the same time, after getting that good order block as number two, I want to go to lower time frame, which is 1 minute time frame, because basically I'm using 15 minutes time frame as my bias, right, or as my setup. Then 1 minute time frame would be basically used for my entry. So let's see what I did here. All right, as you can see, the directional bias of this particular pair, even on the 15 minutes time frame, is bearish. You can see the market structure is surely bearish. So when I came into the market, permit me, I'm going to clear some of this chart. All right, let me just drag this here. When I came to the market, that was on I guess on Monday. Was it on Monday or so? Let me try to look for that markup. It was on Tuesday, right? So this was a setup I actually marked. All right, this was a setup, right? I was looking to take a buy to sell from here, and I'm going to really show you everything. Now this particular one was a loss anyway. It was a loss. I took a loss here, but this one that I set here actually played out, despite the fact that I am also still going to take a 1 minute entry. So let me quickly go back to the chart and show you what I did. Right, so let me clear all this particular drawing from it and just show you straight up what I did, just to play it out so that you can understand that. Don't forget, these are the risk reward I actually took on it. Right, so let's quickly go on. Just like what I said, directional bias is already established, so I want to look at this particular rule. Now it took out liquidity. So the first thing, this particular order block took out liquidity. We have the liquidity graph here, right? there was a liquidity grab. It was rejecting. That's number 4, rejecting on a pseudo block, which is actually this one. So basically, I'm expecting to take an entry from this particular block. The first one I marked was this, which actually went to a loss. So the second one is actually what played out. That's what I'm going to be explaining. So it played out. This was it here. As you can see, that was the one that actually played out. Let me cut this. Actually, let me have the replay. So I already set my pre-order here, which is actually this particular zone. So let's do this. Then I went to 1 minute time frame for me to pick 1 minute entry. So this particular one here, and I was targeting the low, right? I was targeting this low here. I was actually targeting 1 to 10 risk reward ratio. So let's quickly go to 1 minute time frame and see how this actually play out. Again, don't forget the rules I've actually followed. Took out liquidity reject on a block, so I saw that this is actually a very good block for me to now trade with. Every other rules is actually meant as an impulsive move and break market structure, as you can see that. Then I guess the only thing that is not here is actually an FVG, right? And actually doesn't engulf, and I believe that can actually be gotten on a lower time frame, because if you go back to the lower time frame, you surely see the candle that actually got engulfed, which is actually this particular zone here. As you can see, that was the one that actually got engulfed. So all these particular rules were met. So let's quickly see on 1 minute time frame what we have here. On 1 minute time frame, I actually took a loss. All right, the first loss was on this after price actually broken structure, so I was expecting to take a trade from here, and this trade actually went to a loss. So there was another lower time frame entry that I took after price beginning to form structure. As you can see, right, this particular trade was still intact because I added extra pips just to cover up for the spread and something like this to this particular trade, which actually make me to actually be in this particular entry. Now, where I put my entry and stop loss might actually be different from the one I have actually marked. So you can look at the thumbnail, right? Because everything is going to be there just for you to follow how it was done. But very quickly, let me just do that. The entry was 05981, I guess. 05981. This was where I put my entry. Then my stop loss was 06046. Let's put it there. 06046. Right. All right, let me just put it at that. So this was my entry and this was my stop loss, but we would really want to get a 1 minute entry. So let's play this out and see what happened. So at the same time, I can actually see that the areas in this structure, the first zone I'm looking out for to sell or to take a 1 minute entry will be this particular zone, right, which is actually the extreme. I always encourage this. So my pending order was there. Then at the same time, I saw that there's another one that took out liquidity here. It has an impulsive move. So basically, I want to trade from this particular area at the same time, right? I want to trade from there, right? And that is actually going to be my order trade. So the stop loss was about 2.5, I guess so, right? About 2.5. So that was actually what I really want to take on this one. So let's see how this eventually played out. Right. So this trade actually begins to really play out. So that was my first trade, and I was also targeting this low. Now, when price was doing that, I actually figured out that there was another price action that was already formed here, which is actually another market structure. Let me try to building this up. I mean, just zoom in. Right. As you can see, price broke structure here, went on to break another structure here. Right. We have first break of market structure here. So that was actually the buy I took. Right. Just I was saying it that is just an intraday, how I actually capitalize on market structure and the rules of trading, right, for me to follow up and actually take an intraday trade. So this was actually the first thing I saw: break of market structure, another break of market structure here. Now, directional bias. Now, basically in this intraday, it is now bullish here, as you can see. Despite the fact that I already have one trade running here, I also want to take a buy, which is actually what we have here. Let me look for that. Where's my buy trade? Just to show you. Now, this is it. As you can see, this was my buy trade. I actually took a 1 minute entry from here. So I marked this particular zone and I was expecting price to actually pull back there. Now, this particular trade fulfills all the rules. Took out liquidity here, as you can see, and it is rejecting on this particular last candle. Right, it is rejecting on that. So this fulfills all the rules of order blocks and also directional bias that we have here. So I was expecting this particular trade now This my trade here, right? I was expecting to actually get to 1 to 10, right? Because I believe that the ultimate structure of this pair is bearish. So that is actually intact, even though price can actually give me a buy for another selling opportunity here. But I'm just confident about this particular trade, right? The only thing I cannot decide is just the direction of the market. I know if my stop loss, my entry point is intact, I can go on to have a good trade from here. So let's see what happened next. All right. Just like what I said, I was expecting price to come back here, right? And at the same time, my trade here is also in place. So let's see how this also play out. Try to zoom it out, zoom in order. So this trade begins to play out, right? So this trade was here. As you can see, it actually nearly took my stop loss here, as this particular one was still running. Yeah, about 1 to 19 anyway. So let's see. Now I noticed another thing here. All right. I noticed another thing in here, all right, which is another market structure for me. I'm going to show you that. So as price was coming to this my buyer's rejection zone, all right, to actually take a buy, I noticed another kind of setup here that was forming. Now, don't forget the ultimate structure here was actually bearish, all right. Then I could also see the rules of order block being met. Take out liquidity, took out this high. Can you see that? Reject on another pseudo block, which is actually what we have here. Reject on this block, all right. Take out liquidity, all right. It's taking out this liquidity, right. So I was expecting to take another sell, all right, from this particular block. Don't forget, I already have two trades running on this trade. The first one was here, right? The first one was here. I have another lower time frame entry running here. As you can see, I'm just following the rules. Just like what you can see, my bias time frame was 15 minutes time frame, and basically I should take entry on the 1 minute time frame. So when price get back to this particular zone, right? When price gets to the particular zone, so I went to 1 minute time frame again for me to scan for opportunities, and that is actually what we have here. I went to 1 minute time frame for me to look for opportunities. So on my 1 minute time frame, I actually did not take a pre-entry here. I call something a pre-entry, which is actually supposed to have actually triggered in. But let's just go straight to 1 minute time frame. On 1 minute time frame, I can see what price action is doing. Right, so I can see this order block actually took out this liquidity break market structure. So this made me to mark this particular zone as where I want to trade from at the second point in time. So let me quickly go to 15 minutes time frame. Then I'll have to delete some things so that it can actually be clear. Or let me just drag this back to this particular state. Right, so I was expecting to take a lower time frame entry from here, a 1 minute entry from here at the same time. Right, so this is my entry point, and this is my stop loss. So the entry was this. Or I actually put it above this I, right, and my stop loss was just a few pips below this particular low. Let's put it at 2.5. So I was targeting this particular order block here. That's actually what I was targeting, this particular order block here, and actually give me 1 to 16 risk reward ratio. Right, give me 1 to 16. Right, actually go to 1 to 16 in here. So let's see how this actually play out. And with this, I already have another trade here which actually fulfills all the rules of order block. Take out liquidity, it engulfed, right? This actually doesn't engulf, but it's actually an MBB, but it has a fair value gap in it. Take out liquidity, reject on a pseudo block, and has an impulsive move that breaks structure. So it breaking this structure here, then at the same time went on to break this particular order block. So with that, I was rest assured that when price come back to this, knowing fully well that price action is actually bearish on the bigger picture and even on the 4-hour time frame. So this particular trade is here to trigger. Let's see how this will actually trigger and actually picked us in. As you can see, I was targeting this particular area. Then at the same time, the last trade that I'm going to discuss will be the sell, which is actually this one. As you can see where I took the entry and the stop loss. And I'm going to show you how I also took the 1 minute entry. Right. So this particular trade, another setup was actually placed there. You can see I'm just one pair. That's I used to say this to my student. Just one pair can actually give you as many opportunities as possible that you can actually trade. this particular content, I have my student in mind when I'm actually producing it, so that you actually know that there is nothing I'm actually hiding from you. The only thing you're going to get from the mentorship is super guidance and how you can actually utilize many opportunities in the market. So my entry point at for this, right, is 05873. Let's quickly mark that. 05873. All right, that was my entry point. Then the stop loss was placed at 05921. Right, so that was a stop loss. So that's actually what I was expecting, and I was targeting another low in there. So let's see how this actually play out. So price actually got to our target 1 to 16 risk reward ratio, and also trigger us in here. As you can see, we're triggered in here. So this actually made me to also go to 1 minute time frame and also scalp for another opportunities that I should have actually been looking for here. You can see it's just me following my rules strictly. Now on the 1 minute time frame, let's quickly go there. Let me lock this. So I saw that this price action, I could not really take an entry from here, but let's see what happened eventually. So I was looking for a better opportunity that would break market structure and give me a very big opportunity. Um, so market just went up, right, and broke down. So let's see. Right. So with this, I can see much more opportunities here. Price actually take out liquidity again. I can't really take it from the extreme because price actually was not really good. And at the same time, there was another opportunity for me here, right, which actually did not happen. So in this particular lower time frame, I actually did not take this lower time frame because it is out of my trading hour. But this is how you would have actually approached it. Now as price actually take out liquidity here, you can see all the rules was met also, or even on the 1 minute time frame. Price is just fractal, so you have many opportunities that you can just go on with, just following the rules I've given to you. So the basic things is that I want to trade from here because this is actually the next order block to that rule. Then I also want to trade from here. So if you set your pending order here, you will see that the price action here was actually too small. I mean, the pip was too small, so I have to really cover it up, maybe to about 2 pips, so that we can just have that opportunity to trade from this particular zone. So let's see this. No, I guess it was actually the second one. Now price actually gave us another one that breaks structure here. And what do we have next? We just see price giving us an entry, right? This we have another third one here, so let's just delete this. No. So this one is what we should really delete and pull this here. This is actually another entry that I would have taken. Again, I tell you did not take this entry, but this is how you would have treated this, and you would have actually gotten an entry, assuming you are trading on in during the Asian session. So this actually cover up for it. Now on the 15 minutes time frame, let's just see how price actually play out. Your major target will still be on this higher time frame. Your target on the higher time frame, that's where you should actually be targeting 1 to 22. Then this one also you can just target the low, right? And let's see how that actually play out for us. So it's just as simple as this, right? You can see price eventually get to the target. So it's just as simple as this. This is just the same thing you've actually seen in my thumbnail, right? As you can see, follow directional bias, get a good order block, we have these rules, then get a lower time frame entry. That is how you can trade and you can become a professional trader. Now, if you really want to see follow-up videos on this, I've actually made so many videos relating to this. Well, I'm just focusing on intraday traders for now, so that you can actually get as many opportunities as possible based on the pair you really want to trade. And just like I used to say, my advice to you is just to stick to one pair or two pairs, at most 3 pairs, and you can actually bank so much money, as you will be focused and you'll be able to trade without any disturbance in your mind. I hope you get opportunity from this. I mean, I hope you get so much value from this. If you are a new viewer, please click on the subscribe button and click on the notification bell. And if you are and it's still light, or just like what we used to say in our universities, or maybe a returning subscriber, please kindly like this video and share it with your student, with your with fellow traders, and also in so many platforms that you belongs to, so that many people will have opportunities to see this content. All right, so thank you. I will see you in the next class. Bye bye.